In this version of the Datrium DVX, we are demonstrating archival of snapshots from on-prem DVX to AWS 3. This presents our customers with the ability to protect their infrastructure data both in the on-prem DVX cloud and offsite in the AWS DVX cloud repositories. The solution uses forever incremental snapshots, compression, and global deduplication end-to-end, which saves both storage and network costs, especially relevant in the cloud where network egress costs can add up quickly. Datrium will manage the solution on AWS end-to-end as a service. An on-prem DVX can store VM or file snapshots in AWS S3 for a long-term archival and easily retrieve them as needed. Setting up the connection to AWS is an extremely simple task. We use the same replica site setup method for connecting to other DVX on-prem systems. In this release, we have a new destination type for Cloud DVX in AWS. For this, you'll need an AWS account and credentials. Here we will use one of our accounts and enter the access key ID and secret access key, and give the new site a label to identify this new destination site. We'll call it AWS Cloud DVX. It's that simple to set up. We take care of the next step of initializing an AWS Cloud DVX instance to connect to. Depending on your connection, this may take a few minutes, but no other action is required for connecting. We now have a destination replica site available where we can send snapshot data from the on-prem DVX. We already have a protection group defined, but let's modify it to use the offsite protection to AWS S3 that we just established. Here we edit the protection group policy definition and change its name to reflect its new capabilities and update its schedule to leverage replication to AWS S3, taking advantage of different retentions for the local versus cloud inventories. We're done. Simple setup, integrated just like any other DVX replications, and now offsite, leveraging the hybrid private and public cloud capabilities of DVX. Note, the replication to and from any two DVX sites, private or public, is always compressed and deduplicated and encrypted, providing capacity and bandwidth optimization and data security. Let's explore some other new capabilities in this release, in particular remote snapshots and retrieval methods. Let's examine the protection group policy we modified earlier. We see the typical view of the snapshots that are available in this PG policy, showing source, destination, time, and other information about the snapshot set. In this release, there is a new feature to let us show remote snapshots. Selecting this option will expand each snapshot entry and reveal the locations of the data copies, either local or remote. We can see that some entries show both copies, and some are only showing the remote. The local copy has expired or been deleted. If we select one of the entries that is only remote, say the first one at 5 p.m., we get a Retrieve Action option just above the list. Choosing to retrieve, we are presented with the retention option for the data copy that will be brought back locally on site. Let's stick with our 24-hour local retention policy we used earlier. We can see the incoming replication task in the upper right-hand corner in progress. Keep in mind this data is being deduplicated as part of the transfer back. The flexibility we have to determine what we want to retrieve can also be at a more granular VM level, as with normal protection group operations. Let's drill into the 4 p.m. snapshot and grab just one of the replicated VMs held offsite in AWS S3. We'll pick SQL 05 and apply the same retention choice as before. We see an additional incoming task as a result. The data is coming back on-site from AWS S3 to be used as desired. Let's navigate back up to the protection group policy definition details and see what changed. The snapshot entry for 5 p.m. that previously only had the remote copy in AWS S3 now has a local copy that can be acted upon, and we see the choices available, for example, clone or restore. The other retrieve of a single VM can be found in the ad hoc snapshots inventory. Here we see the SQL 05 VM from 4 p.m. that we selected for our retrieval earlier is now in our local inventory to use. That sums up the demo of the new features we're showing.